Hi there, this is Barb with Lost and Floss, episode 82. I actually looked this time, and today is November 2nd, 2022. This channel is primarily about cross stitch, but every once in a while there's something else thrown in. So it was maybe about 2.5 weeks ago that I recorded last, but since October ended and I was doing hashtag FFO October, all run together on Instagram, I thought that I would take the time to show you what sorts of finishes I got done during October. So we'll put that more towards the end. So if you'd like to see what I accomplished this year, stay tuned and I'll show you later. So it's a beautiful fall day in Wisconsin. Honestly, it feels more like spring. It's 71 out there, I believe. The sun is shining and it does not really feel like fall at all. But I've noticed on TV in the commercials that it's more and more Christmas stuff, and I gathered up the few things of Halloween I had out interspersed amongst my fall decorations and put those away, but I can't wait to decorate for Christmas. And I know there's lots of others who are probably already doing it. I tend to wait a little bit into November, but it's just so nice to have everything decorated and just take more of a leisurely approach to the holidays where you can spend time with family and friends and just enjoy the time together instead of, you know, the things we consider have-tos that aren't necessarily have-tos. But anyways, let's see. Well, I'll chit-chat at the end, I guess. And in the meantime, I'll show you what's up. So I've worked on a few of these things, and I can tell I'm making peace with the fact that more and more I'm an in-season stitcher, and you know, that's okay. I guess I can work on Christmas year-round, but this is the time of year where I haul out my old projects and I just want to get them done. So I'm working on Blackberry Lane Designs gingerbread mittens. And I'm doing the little girl gingerbread. As I mentioned last time, I'm not sure the back is on these is totally stitched as well. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not, but I've almost got the little girl done. I'm stitching this on 28 count. Picture this plus Cashel Phoenix, I believe the color is. You know the tag is still on here. I might as well just look so that I know for sure. Yes, Phoenix. So it's a bright, bright red. I think this was the called for color, but perfect for Christmas time. I pulled this out of my stash and made a little progress. This is being stitched on Picture This Plus Shadow. It's the 1999 Christmas Sampler by Carriage House Samplings. I should take that out because it's really not used to sunshine in November. I just think this is really just a timeless piece. I mean, it's 23 years and it looks like something that someone would design now. Anyways, the dark is a little challenging for me. It looks looks really bright in the sunlight, but I did almost get through the letters and needed to get the tree stand, or kind of reminds me of a thread spool in there before I moved on to more green. I tend to like, when I want to do a new motif, and it requires a new color, then I tend to find another spot on the chart to use up at least the rest of my thread before I'll go back and finish up the rest of the green letters. But I love this one. I hope to get it done this year, but we'll see. As I always say, I'm not committing to anything on that. So I kind of am late to the game, but I'm working on prairie schooler ornaments. I'm doing them on Vintage Country Mocha 24 count, 1/1, so they're tiny. I finished up stitching 2022, so I decided to pull an old one, 2012. And since my husband's dad was a mailman, I thought, I'm going to stitch this one as one of the first ones going back. They are fun to stitch. Like, once I get into my head that it's so tiny, I just have to make sure that I don't pull my stitches too tight, and I stitch across the row and then come back and cross the X's, and that seems to work pretty well. So I tried to pick out one that had bigger blocks of color, and so I really think I should get this one done too. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to finish them. I trimmed the other 3 that I have complete, and they're like 2 1/4 by 3 inches, so pretty tiny. And I thought, really, you know, sometimes a pillow, they don't get stuffed as evenly. So I think what I'm going to do is just a simple stretch them over a piece of mat board and then fabric on the back and just some cording going around them. Maybe a bow, maybe not. Maybe I'll put a little jingle bell on them. I don't know. I guess still have time. But I'm recording my progress in this cute little notebook that Lori, textilist, gifted me last spring when we were together at Country Sampler. And so I love being able to keep track of which one I'm working on, and I don't know, it's just, I love vintage Santas, so I mean, I wish he was a stitch piece. He's beautiful. And then, so you guys know I seriously have an issue with series pieces, and I'm trying to cure myself of that. Last year I finished all the monthly wordplay series, and this year it was my mission to finish the Prairie Schooler A Prairie Year months that I hadn't finished before. And so right now I'm down to only having November and December left to stitch. I had started a little bit on November, the outline. I think I showed this before. And then I lost the color thread or floss I was using, and I forgot to buy it when I was at a needlework store. But then today, when I was getting things out for this video, what did I find? A skein of the color I needed. So that was pretty exciting. So I'll be able to go back and work on November once I'm done with December. But I decided to work on Santa, and I'm changing up the colors a little bit. I'm stitching this on some fabric that I dyed last year, and I love the colors. The red is from X Jude Design. It's Mariska's red. And because I'm stitching 2/2, instead of using 2 identical strands, I'm taking 1 strand and folding it in half. So the variegation is a little bit more muted, but that's kind of what I was looking for. So I really think, now that I found my green that I was using on these, I think I should be able to get this one done fairly soon. He just needs a tree, needs his tree and the border, and then that one will be done. So that'll be pretty exciting when I have that series all finished up. I have more in the works. I don't know how many years it's going to take me before I have them all done. But I've really made an effort not to get involved in any more monthly series or even seasonal series, just because it's even work to switch out the pieces. Like sometimes if we're at the cabin or something and aren't home for half the month, I'll get home and it's kind of like, oh, the old one's up and it's almost time to put the new one up. So do I really want to? Alrighty. So then, of course, well, if you're new to the channel, you don't know this, but welcome. And to those of you who have been with me through this all, I am stitching a gold collection dimension stocking for each of my grandchildren. And so this is the one I'm stitching for the youngest one. It's called Santa's Flight. And the blue almost killed me, so I went down, left some spaces, which I shouldn't have done, but left some spaces. So now I have the bottom all done, except for the back stitching. And now I've been like spending some time filling in there. And I'm also going to start on the name and then keep filling in, do the back stitching, and probably add some gold beads, because the other ones I added some, just a few gold beads, like maybe on the reindeer harness over here, and I don't know, somewhere along his sleigh. Not too much, just a little bit to add a little sparkle. So a few people have asked me to provide instructions on how I finish my stockings. So when I get to that point, which has to be this year, has to be done by Christmas, I will just do a short tutorial on the steps I use. And, you know, it's how I've done them since I did my first one almost 40 years ago. Hate to say that, but, and it's, you know, kind of an easy way. And, you know, I don't know that it's the officially proper way, but it's how I do it, and they look fine. And it's not something that I plan to wash or whatever. So anyways, so I also have been working on Plum Street samplers this happy morning. And this was, I got it as a kit. It's a light version from Country Sampler. And I'm working on getting this barn done, or house. Is it a barn or a house? I don't know. Whatever it is, barn, I guess. I'd call it a barn. looks varnished to me. Getting that done before I move on to anything else. Originally, I thought maybe I'd just outline it and then go on to some of the other motifs, but I think it will be nice just to have it totally done. So I love this fabric. It's really a beautiful color, and I think you can see that pretty good. So it's actually a fun one to stitch. Once I made some progress on the barn and started getting in the pattern, last night I was working a little bit on the roof. I had the page ended, so I came down here, and then I'm like, I better put the rest of the roof in so that I don't get too much of a stripy effect going there. So making progress. Definitely will not be done for this Christmas, but that's okay. And then I talked about how I'm finishing up. Leanne had started Christmas Garden by Blackbird Design. And essentially she did the green all around, some of the strawberries on the bottom, and like up to here. Yeah, up to there. And so really it was like splitting the chart in two. So this is what she had done up to there. And so I finished off all the strawberries, so the border is totally done. And then I've been working my way down with the motifs. And I love it. And I really, it's like comfort stitching because it's on 32 count, and after all the color changes that go on with the Dimensions gold stockings, like these have more, like I think there's only 5 colors altogether, and they have big blocks of color. So it's really so much easier than what I really thought when I saw it first off, you know. But I was a pretty novice stitcher back then, so that's how it goes, right? Let's see. Okay, then I did finish my stitching my Leanne's Legacy piece. Let's see if I can find it. It's a Blackbird Design Mighty Acorn. So pretty. And I stitched it pretty much with the called for colors, I think. Have a little mistake in my personalization. Let's see if anyone can catch it. Kind of made me laugh after I realized it, but then I thought, I'm just gonna leave it. I had a lot of space here, so I just added some little doodaddy things in there just to fill it up a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'll frame this myself, or if I don't have something that's close enough in size or that I can't make close enough, then I might take it in to have it done. But I don't know. I think I would only have this out in fall, so I hate to spend too much money on that kind of thing. Before I forget to talk about it, our stitch group had a really, really fun day. Our friend Lisa had a friend who owns a Airbnb out in the country, and just a beautiful house that they restored. I think it was from I know I'm going to get the year wrong. 1878, 1838. I don't know. But she was gracious enough to let us come on site for a day. And so we arrived in the morning and were there almost 12 hours. I mean, they were such gracious hosts to us, just very, very interesting. Gave us the whole tour of the house and the barn and the property, and it just was a fabulous day. We had an abundance of food as usual. Lisa made delicious chicken rice broccoli soup that was really good for lunch, and we had make your own salads and bread and coffee cakes and cookies and cake and then I made I tried a new recipe for dinner that was a baked ziti casserole, and it had gotten really good reviews online, and so I thought, well, I'll try it. It didn't seem too complicated. In essence, it's kind of lasagna-ish, but use the ziti noodles, which I found much easier dealing with than lasagna noodles. And yeah, it was delicious. So we got both recipes, Lisa's for the soup and mine for the ziti casserole, off to people. And the best part, well, I mean, it was all good, but a really special part was Annie Bees and her daughter Belle joined us for the day. And so that was so awesome. Annie kind of gave us a little, she brought what stitches she didn't have loaned out for trunk shows, and gave us a history of her journey. And as usual, it was delightful stitching with both of them and so much fun. And we missed, Chelsea was not feeling well that day, so she had to stay home. But, you know, we hope to do it again with them because it was so much fun. But anyways, we all decided to get Annie's chart for the red work pairs. And so I can't wait to stitch these. And there's so many different pretty reds, and the things I've done that have just been red on, you know, like a neutral background color, I've just really enjoyed stitching. So, but I'll put some pictures at the end. I mean, the house is just gorgeous. It would make a great place for a girls' weekend, or, you know, a getaway weekend for maybe 2 or 3 couples. It was really, really beautifully restored, and just, you know, hearing the history of the place, and it just was awesome. And both Sue and Charlie, her husband, were such gracious hosts to us. I mean, it just made for such a fun, enjoyable day. So we hope to go back sometime. But yeah, it was just a fun day. So it's just fun to spend that length of time with people, chatting and eating and all the fun stuff. So, but now, so that was, I'll put some pictures of the property at the end because words just can't do it justice. It was so pretty. So highly recommend if you're looking for a getaway in southeastern Wisconsin area. It wouldn't be real close to Milwaukee, but maybe an hour's drive. But out in the country, just really, really pretty. Okay, so now I have FF October to talk about. Well, I kind of feel like I should give myself an F for FF October. Other years I've accomplished so much finishing that it just was really invigorating to get things done. But when I looked at my calendar thinking, why didn't I get as much accomplished? I mean, I did get some things finished. I was hardly home at all this month. We were up at our cabin for an extended period of time, and then I had a 4-day weekend with my friends, and then we had the stitch day. I had, you know, a couple doctor's appointments, and then we went to Disney with our grandkids for 8 days. So, you know, it just didn't align with getting a lot of finishing done. But we were back before the end of October, so I made a point of getting a few things finished that I really had been wanting to finish. And yeah, everything that I get out of my bin that's a long-term thing, I consider myself not lucky, but it just is a feeling of accomplishment when you take that piece that you stitched, or in my case, some of them were Leanne stitches. You take those things and turn them into something that you can display in your home. It just is such a feeling of accomplishment. And I think I've mentioned before, you know, I love to stitch, but I also love to have the finished stitches in my home. And so, you know, it's different than someone who just wants to stitch. But anyways, I am making progress on both the things that Leanne gave me to finish and my own finished things. And, but I'll show you what I finished this month in October. And I had a couple finishes right before, so I'll just consider myself lucky. So anyways, this was from that Prairie Schooler, a Prairie Year book or chart that I just showed a little while ago. So this was fabric I had dyed myself, and I just used a generic red on the back, put a little baby red rickrack, a little puffy thing, and then I thought I needed something in the center, and a button just wasn't doing it, so I glued in a couple of these stick pins, and I think it's kind of cute. It brings out the white in there, and I filled it mostly with walnut shells, with the corners having a little fiber fill in them. Not fiber fill, warm and natural cut up. But I think it doesn't really like sit because it's so fully stuffed, but it's done. Yay. So this is the other one I worked on, September, and it's the little schoolhouse. I've shown this fabric before, but this is what I made. Oops. I made my daughter's first day of kindergarten outfit using this print, and then a jacket lining. I changed the colors around. If you're interested, let me know. I can talk about them next video. And I just did like a little rosette with a little rickrack embellishment, just to give it a little pizzazz. And then this was a piece Leanne stitched. I know it's on Aztec Red. Can't remember who. Was it Plum Street? I don't know. I probably showed the pattern in the past. But anyways, this is her stitch, my finish. And I stuffed it with kind of a combination of fiber fill and walnut shells. And then Vicki had, at our library stitch along, Vicki had, a member of our group, had gifted me with a this button. And so I thought it was cute on there, just tied with a little twine. And so that's another one out of her box that I have finished. And then I feel like I'm not making these things to last into the 22nd century. So I glue my trim on for the most part, unless it's something like chenille where you need that thread to kind of shape the flow of how it looks. But anyways, so I glued my rickrack on, and then on a big pillow like this, I tend to slit the back and stuff it so that I get my corners all nice and even. So I'm like, well, last couple I've made like little applique patches out of wool, and I was looking at some things I had sitting on my sewing table, and I'm like, why can't I just glue one of these gift tags on the back? And they're heavier, more like cardstock, and so I took Aleene's glue and I carefully put it almost to the edges, and I like it. I think I don't know how it's gonna hold up, but you know, worst case scenario, I'll just peel it off and do something else. But I think it looks kind of fancy, and yet it was not time consuming at all, which was glorious because I was all about just getting a few of these things cranked out. And then for my grand finale, I wish we could have a drum roll or a doo-doo-doo. But I got my Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread back from the framer. And I love it. So originally it was supposed to have a fillet, which I kind of threw in there at the last minute, like after I was ordering this frame. And I really liked it with that. Well, when I went to pick it up, they had switched order forms and somehow missed it. And I mean, they could have added it, but I was afraid it would get too close to the stitch line. And because I was on the fence with, you know, putting it on to begin with, I thought, you know, I'm not gonna make them do that. And so, and plus it saved me quite a bit not having it on there. And because I could see how it looked, I thought it was beautiful just without that. And I thought, I'll use the fillet on something else rather. But I'm thrilled with how this turned out. It's just, I already had it. I took my After the Roses by Ink Circle, which I have back there, down off the wall, and I hung this one up right away. So I just really am happy with how it turned out. And, you know, it was probably the first bigger piece I've stitched like this. So it was kind of fun to, you know, have something done professionally. And then the one other thing, I showed this last time. This was my first drum. Leanne stitched this. It was from Acorns and Thread, and then the acorns just goes around the side. But I talked about I was going to maybe put a bow on the seam, and so this is what I did, and I really like it. I just used, I made the bow, the twine, like twice as wide as what it is going around. And then I have a little bit of those berries that are on wires that I curled around a pencil. And then I had these little acorns. I just glued it all on, and I just think it adds a little bit on to the plainness of it. I still have glue threads. I hauled out my glue gun for this one because I was kind of impatient. I didn't want to wait for the various components to have to harden up. So anyways, and once again, I so appreciate Ivana's drum tutorial. It made it really, really easy. I think I'll do a better job even next time, but I'm happy with it. It's definitely drum worthy. We had a great time with being with the grandkids for that many days in a row. We all flew out together and flew back together. I mean, they boarded earlier than we were able to, so we weren't able to sit with them on the way there, but on the way back, they were right behind us, and just so much fun. I mean, we had gone with our kids, you know, when they were like 5 and 8, but did it totally different. Drove down in a van with a cooler, and I think I've talked about that before, but it just was so much fun to stay in the same, not the same room, but adjoining rooms to a living room with them. And we sure got our walking in. I mean, some days were over 20,000 steps. My Fitbit is probably thinking, what the heck happened to you since you got back? But yeah, the weather was nice. We only had, you know, little sprinkles. Our friends that we visit further south in Florida came up for an afternoon so we could go out to lunch together to celebrate our friend's birthday. So that was awesome, being able to spend an afternoon with them. And that was kind of our kid-free day, because then it didn't make sense for us to go to dinner when we had a big lunch. So that day we stayed and saw the light show at Epcot, and you know, they had the fall decorations out, and it's a different type of vacation, that's for sure. It's like go, 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 and like all these people and a lot of commotion. Two little ones were always in a battle for, you know, who was going to press the elevator button. And, you know, I thought like of how I'm always like pressing with my knuckle or my elbow just so I don't have to touch the button and all the germs attached. So I guess you know, don't think of those things when you're younger. It's like, I don't know what the thrill of pushing the elevator button is, but so yeah, it was great to spend time with them. They're just very, very fun ages, and we had a great time. And yeah, it had been a while since we did that kind of vacation. And I guess, you know, we just did real quick places to eat when our kids were young and ate in our room a lot. But there actually are some good restaurants at Disney. I was like surprised. I mean, I've heard that, but we had just never taken the time to check anything out. So it was great having our son-in-law was like our tour guide. He always knew, like, he had his phone out and knew what rides had what kind of weight. And so it was pretty slick. all the modern ways of doing things that, you know, back 25, 30 years ago did not exist. It makes it, sometimes it makes it more complex, I think, the experience, but yeah, it just was great people watching and nice to get away and spend that quality time with family. So I guess that's it. I'll put some pictures at the end if anyone cares to see the exciting times. But, you know, it's fun. It's obviously commercial. But seeing especially like the younger kids, how excited they got over stuff, it was a fun experience. So, but that being said, I guess I've rambled on long enough. Just wanted to mention, if you've made it this long and you're a new viewer and you haven't subscribed, we're getting really close to another milestone. So please subscribe, ring the bell, because I'm sporadic and don't have any rhyme or reason to my recording schedule. So thank you all for joining me today. And you know, I can't comment enough on how much it means, because I know there's oodles and oodles of ways you can spend your time. So I appreciate the fact that you chose to spend some time with me today. So I hope you're all doing well and continue to fill the world with love. Bye.